for Remco and Roglic to challenge Vingegaard and Poggi is going to be so hard, and they're 2 days in and they've lost 49 seconds.
Nobody goes in there expecting to give away time on any day, let alone in the first 2 days. You've kind of like given yourself a handicap to the two best riders in the world. What's occurring?
What's occurring? Brought to you by Continental Tyres, main partner of the Tour de France. Very pleased to have this gentleman on the show. Very good friend of mine. He's going to give us some good inside scoop from today. A man who should have been at the Tour de France by all rights and has had a stellar season, like a fine wine he is. He's just getting better with age. Welcome, Swifty.
Thank you, mate. That was a nice intro.
It's nice, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all right. Been practicing.
No, tip of the tongue, mate.
Oh, yeah.
But I think let's get into it with you first, because you should have been at the Tour, mate. So what happened? Why are you there?
Yeah, I say it as a goal quite early. It actually stemmed back from Tour of Britain last year. Arthur came down to watch it. Tour of Britain, was super excited. And he's at that age now where he's understanding what bike racing is. So I was like, you know what? I've done the Giro so many times. Let's try to go back to the Tour. It's the biggest race. Spoke to the team, said that's what I want to do. So we set out a plan. And everything was going good. I think for me, a good season, like consistent, strong, did my job everywhere. Was knocking on the door for a few results, which is not too bad for a guy my age, So I was happy, got the call, super happy. Came down, told the boys, told Lizzie that we're going Paris. Well, hopefully go Paris, that's still a long way off. And then was unsure whether to do the Nationals. I was always kind of saying, maybe don't do the Nationals if I go to the Tour. But then you're kind of like, well, I'm in great form, obviously, to go to the Tour. The team want you to race the Nationals. They opened up the door for everybody to race the Nationals. So I was like, you know what, let's go.
Which is strange, no? Because normally they say no Tour, no Nationals.
Well, when I first rode the Tour with Sky many years ago, we rode the Nationals. Obviously, Wiggo rode it. He was national champ. And then there was just, I think it was actually after Lincoln, you boys went too hard on each other. And then you're all a bit tired for the start of the Tour. And then ever since then, it was kind of frowned upon. But I think obviously we want to have the best Tour that we can, but we know that realistically, we want to try and chase wins and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to race. I think, I've had that discussion now. I think if you're scared to race, then obviously don't be a bike rider, So I can't be regretful that I raced the Nationals. Obviously, you can crash anywhere. I nearly got knocked off twice out training on my pre-race ride at that Nationals. So there's danger around the corner, isn't there? So yeah, unfortunately, I crashed at the Nationals, was involved in that big pile-up. I was going to save it. I was on the edge going round, riding over people, but then I just got just didn't use the brakes behind. And then, fractured the scapula, so.
Oh, mate, that's tough, isn't it? That's tough. I mean, people, who you only see a lot of the time you only see the nice stories of cycling and all the success and people going to the Tour, and, you forget how big even just to go to the Tour is, just to be selected is huge. And, I'm not brown-nosing you, but you have been flying, mate. I remember in Quatre Jours Dunkirk. Quatre Jours.
French coming out.
Yeah. Mate, you were flying. And we spoke about you after. They were like, has he got a contract? I said, yeah, I've already spoke to him. Unfortunately. And you're not getting any younger, so it would have been nice to have seen you there. But
it is what it is. It's bike race. I tried. I rode my bike Monday, Tuesday, but the pain was just... you can't start the Tour with a little break, can you? Especially in the shoulder area. So I gave it everything I could, and I'd have fought the pain, but that was it. Is what it is. Just have to try again next year.
Let's get into the Tour then. Stage 2, won by Mathieu van der Poel. An aggressive final, as we expected. The win kind of threatened all day, but was never quite, whether it was a mix of not quite in the right direction. But yeah, what do you make of that, mate? It was just stress, wasn't it? Stress.
I think it's always difficult. When you're watching on TV, you kind of see one thing and it's kind of looked like nothing's really happening. It's just fighting, but you know exactly what's going off in that peloton. There's just so much stress. And I think listening to the interview that Ben Healy said, that popped up on the pre-race this morning, and about yesterday, that split yesterday. For me, that was just such a strange one. It almost looked like Bora, Trek, what was it on Quick Step? It just looked like they didn't. Obviously, you're only seeing snippets and little bits, and you don't see what's happening. But I don't know. Surely you just throw everybody and just sprint to close that gap. But it just looked like everybody was just either sleeping or just on their knees, or which is strange. Stage one of the Tour, but I think Ben made a good point there. He just said everybody was at that point just so mentally fried, and you forget the impact of how mentally tiring a race like that is. So even though it's day one and you expect people just to sprint and close the gap, because they were there, they held it. It was almost like once they realised it was too late, and then they just couldn't do anything about it. But I don't know. For me, it was a bit of a strange one. But then the stress of the race, all that sort of stuff, it's understandable, which you don't get from the TV.
You went from stage 2 to stage 1 quite quickly there, Ben.
Well, that was quite entertaining. That was a big thing that happened, wasn't it? But
there was a big moment, yeah. Mate, one thing that I didn't quite understand is why Jumbo committed so much on that. What was it? 20k to go, whatever. No, 15k to go. The really narrow climb where they just really lit it up. Like Wout van Aert went on the first one with 30k to go, then Campenaerts went full gas, then Benoot, and then in the final, it was just 2 of them left. You know, they just had Jonas and Jorgensen.
For me, I mean, what else are they going to do there? They had their 2 main guys in the front. You know, quite small roads. You saw quite a few of those exit of the roundabouts. They were the exits were much tighter than the entries and stuff like that. So maybe they just wanted to.
But if you're looking at that as a DS, mate, and you're going, you know, at one point there was, say, 30 guys and they were there with 2. Would you not rather it be a slightly bigger group, 35, 40 guys, but have 4 there? You know, strength in numbers.
I guess you would, but then if you're having 4 there, then the size of the group is getting bigger. I mean, if you look at that whole group, what teams really had more than 2 guys there?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems strange to really light it up. It's going to be very hard to win the stage. Yeah, you got 3rd. I mean, okay, to narrow it down, it makes it a lot safer for them guys. Operating out of a group of 30 isn't too hard, but I don't know. I'm surprised they really went that full gas to narrow it down, and they left themselves quite exposed, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess nowadays, as you're seeing, like, cycling is just, it's almost like do your job and do it as hard as you can. And when them boys do their job as hard as they can, it has an impact on the race, I guess. You know, it explodes the race. Obviously, there was also a touch of wheels in that group as well, which caused a split. So whether that had a bit of a...
On the climb?
There was one climb, yeah. There was a touch and then there was a split.
That was the first one with 30k to go, where Milan G got caught behind it.
Yeah, quite steep. So, and then obviously from there on, it was quite, kind of sets the tone then, doesn't it?
Mate, we're 2 days in, right? Carlos and G take 4 seconds off this because Van der Poel is 4 seconds ahead of Poggy. So let's work off Poggy. Carlos and G are a minute 20 down. Ben O'Connor's 41 seconds down. Remco and Roglic are 49 seconds down. Only 2 days in, and Poggy just got it right. Boom, boom. Tick in the box. Right, front group in the echelons. Bam. You know, just so good. And like, you know, for Remco and Roglic to challenge Vingegaard and Poggy is going to be so hard. And they're 2 days in and they've lost 49 seconds. It's got to be tough mentally.
No, it is. I think, you know, nobody goes in there expecting to give away time on any day, let alone in the first 2 days. You've kind of like given yourself a handicap to the 2 best riders in the world in the biggest race with a lot of their favoured terrain coming, you know. So it's, yeah, I don't know what the answer for that is, but
it's just bike racing, mate.
It's bike racing, and I think you see in nowadays, I think also Vingegaard, he showed a willingness to race, even in like the Dauphiné. And then when he made that little move today, what's quite interesting with him, he's on one front, he's wanting to race, and then the next he's shaking his head, not really wanting to do anything. So I was kind of watching him a bit, and it's like, he's kind of wanting to be there, but then not, and then decides to do stuff. So I don't know if he's playing a bit of mind games as well, or if he's just feeling good. I don't know.
He's faster than I thought. Like, to get third in that sprint today, that's impressive. I know it's uphill, but he's fast as well, isn't he? He beat Poggy in that stage last year.
Yeah. I think he's underestimated on the finishes. I think everybody sees him as a climber and a GC guy, but, pick up 3 seconds or whatever the time bonus is there, pick the bonus seconds up for fourth, third.
And what about if you're putting your Ineos hat on? It's been quite disappointing 2 days, hasn't it, really?
Definitely. I was speaking, obviously, we lost Pippo yesterday, which was was a massive shame. Like, as soon as I saw the crash, and I thought you could see the scuffed jersey on the back, I thought, he's done like his shoulder or something like that. But to see him get up and continue to fight was good. But, like, for me, it's like, the tour is so stressful and everybody wants to be at the front, and they're at the front. Today and yesterday, it felt like, just watching from the outside, obviously you can only take one side, judging from the sofa, you've got no idea what it's like in the race. But yesterday they were at the front, they were in position all day, and then when actually it kind of mattered, they'd fallen back a little bit. Whereas today, it looked like they were trying to sit back a little bit, not quite there, and then tried to move up, but then the few incidents and stuff like that. And Axel was actually there. I think maybe he knew he had to go so deep to try and stay there that he actually just went over his limit potentially, and then paid the price later, because he was there. He was just slightly off the back when it was them 5 or 6. But yeah, there's no getting around it. It's been a disappointing 2 days. It's not a position that we'd like to be in, but kind of reflects where we are at the minute.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think putting my team hat on, I think that's where we struggle. You can get away without being like riding as a real unit, because that's not. It's not just going to come and work. It's a method. It's a way of doing it. Riding together. How do you ride together? How do you be at the front at the right time? How do you stay together? If you lose each other, how do you get back together? It's all something that we've been working on, if you want to say, for our whole career in the team, isn't it? How do we do it? And I think that's where we get a little bit exposed, when you got them points where you need to be in the front, and they just struggle with that. And we had a similar thing yesterday, losing a man. We lost Biziger.
Yeah, I mean, a massive engine for you guys there as well. And I think with that, it's like, in a race like the Tour, it almost has to come so natural to you that you can't overthink it. So as soon as you're overthinking stuff like that and riding together, and you've just got to have so much trust in the people around you. It's like, I remember I always kind of use the reference of like that Paris-Nice, where there was like yourself, me, Stannard, G, Nico, Roach. Yeah. We didn't even say a word to each other.
No.
You just nod, smile, laugh, and it's just, you need to get that balance and that on that same wavelength. But saying about that, actually, Felix Gall was quite impressive today. He was the last man at that back in that, and then all of a sudden he was in that. But he made that front group in the end, did he?
Yeah. He was. We had Aurelian, he was 7th on the stage, and Felix Gall was just behind. But I mean, he's just physically brilliant, but really struggles with positioning, like a lot of guys do. And I was there at Swiss, and we were like trying to work out how do we do it. Sky stay behind him on the descent and then move him back up after, and just trying to think, how do you get a rider in position when they can't position themselves is quite hard.
Well, it's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, we worked on it a bit at Swiss, but any race that's going to, the biggest race that's going to expose you is the Tour de France. You can't get away without being able to ride a bike, and you see the huge difference between well-oiled teams. How Jumbo can nail every corner, how UAE can nail every corner. Right now, a road, who are the teams going to be at the front? It's the same few guys.
It's the same few guys, but then it also comes with, it's like a little bit of like an unwritten rule, isn't it, in cycling? It's like when we was like performing our best when we were Sky and stuff like that, people would use us as reference, so they'd come up to you, but then not go past you. Now, obviously, the fight is a little bit more, but people, they're not going to go around you, whereas certain teams, you'd see them and you just want to get around them. Like not in a bad way, but you just know that there's certain teams that you're happy to almost lead off of them and then not go around them. So in one way, it gives them a slightly easier job, that knowing that they're going to have to fight, but only fight to a certain extent, because once a team goes around it, and then they think, oh, okay, now what do I do? And then your Visma, your UAE, they'll just come straight back past him, you know?
It's so true, mate. Like, you know, when you got like UAE and Visma at the Tour, they're everyone's reference points. And they go where they want. They always nail the points you have to be in the front. It's always them two teams. So every other team is riding off the back of them. And they don't overtake them. They go up to them, but they won't overtake them.
Yeah, and if you bang into them, you almost just look at them and they just back down straight away, you know? It's like
little puppy dogs. Have you had a look at tomorrow, mate?
Finishes in Dunkirk now.
It does indeed. Do you know what? It's so annoying as an armchair fan, because tomorrow it is windy. Like, throughout the day, the wind just picks up. And at the end, it's over 30k an hour. It literally starts at 12k an hour and just goes throughout the day. But for the first, say, just over 100k, it's like crosshead, and then you turn right, and the last, 70k is block headwind.
Oh, it's like worst that you want, because you just got the stress then for nothing, and it's just going to create... Yeah, I'd say that's almost worse wind in today's peloton than it would be if it's like cross tailwind.
Oh, mate, it's just nothing wind, isn't it?
Well, it just creates more, because it puts a dampener on the front, blocks it on the front, so everybody, you're just going to get that washing machine even more. And like, as we saw into Dunkirk, when we raced in Dunkirk, the roads around there, they're quite, obviously they'll be a little bit different coming into the Tour. They'll go with slightly bigger roads and stuff. But
did you recognise that cobble climb on stage 1? We did that in Dunkirk. That was from the circuit, yeah.
Well, Sam stayed on his bike when he sprinted and what?
Yes.
That was the same line, wasn't it? So
yeah. But yeah, tomorrow. So what we're trying to say is that, because the first 110k is cross headwind, sometimes crosswind, there probably will be opportunities if the riders choose to split the peloton. But then they know if they do that, they got to continue when it turns right for 70k in the headwind. So it'll be a situation where everyone wants to be in the front in case someone tries to split it in the wind. But I don't see anyone actually wanting to split it in the wind. So it'll be nervous for nothing.
Oh, exactly that. Especially with turning into headwind. If it was turning into tailwind, or even cross tailwind or something, you'd be all about it. But I think you've also got to look what team actually wants to split it in the crosswind. I think the sprinters now have lost out, apart from your handful of sprinters yesterday. Like, they've lost out the last 2 days. So
yeah,
I think a lot of guys there, they're going to want to make amends, and you're going to see teams really try and stamp some authority on it tomorrow, which then will potentially nullify that. Obviously, anything can happen. The wind can actually change and around there and stuff like that. But
yeah, like Merlier, he's the big one, isn't he? He's the big loser from...
Milan, yeah. Merlier and Milan, yeah. I don't know what happened in that intermediate today, but...
Yeah, what happened there, mate?
I don't know. I think everybody's getting the handbags out, weren't they?
Yeah, it was something...
It must have been in the lead out or something like that. Because the sprint was clean. The sprint was clean. Obviously, I mean, I get the TV coverage. You want to see, for them guys have gone in the break. It's good for them to get the image, but actually, it's quite boring just watching them 4 guys. You want to watch the actual bunch sprint, the guys that are going for it. You know, it's like a second finish of the day.
Yeah, they're so hotly contested. You've got to focus on that. That's a big part of the day now, a big part of the green jersey, and we missed it, didn't we? It
is. You want to watch it for like the 3K leading into it. I know like the break's gone out there for a purpose, and it's all about the sponsorship and stuff like that. But if you're looking for entertaining racing, then you should be panning back.
But Milani properly gave it the Italian like Hail Mary, didn't it? Like, yeah, full gas. I was like that. And then there was another argument behind between Cockard and Paul, however you say his name, Paul Benoit or Spunut or
something like that.
FDJ. They had a right ding dong as well. It was great.
Yeah, it was going, wasn't it? Be nice to know what it was all about.
Yeah.
Funny thing is though, you have that, and then 2 minutes later, everyone's laughing and joking and being friends again, saying sorry.
Right then, Swifty. Every day we pick our Continental tyres, shap over the day. So who are we saying?
You know what? I was thinking about it, and I think even though a lot happened today, nothing really happened. I think the two people that kind of stood out that made big differences for me is like Lewis Askey. When he went on that steep climb, he went full gas, and that's what actually created the split. I was kind of chuckling to myself because when he did that and it overpanned, and then he pulled off and there's no teammates with him, so he actually created the split for other people. But then his teammate did come up there at the end. But
Roman Guerguera finished 4th.
Yeah, so he got back up, and I think you see it. He's been good at that sort of stuff lately, and he's been good. Obviously, Tim Wellens has been pretty solid throughout the whole day. He's been there consistently. So
one of them two for you, is it?
One of them two for me. I think obviously the winner was the winner, and the final there, and the little attacks. But
yeah, I mean, I never really often pick the winner unless it's like because it's a bit run of the mill. I'm a bit like you, but I think two names that spring to my mind are. Well, I think Mathieu Jorgensen had a huge role to play here. There's a few moves in the end that he covered, kind of neutralised that for Vingegaard. And then Kevin Vankerlaan.
Yeah, I was going to say him potentially, yeah. Like he was keen, and he was the only really one animating the final.
Do you know what? If you write down the amount of people who attacked, there wasn't that many attacks. But I'd say he had 3 proper attempts. And he's rumoured to some British team, isn't he?
Yeah, apparently
might be teammates with him next year.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the rumours are true, but he might be going to Ineos from what the websites say. So that'd be a good sign if he does come to you guys. That would be good. But yeah, I'm going Vankerlaan, mate. I think he was there to win the race, wasn't he? Balls to the wall. Like he wasn't racing for second. He knew he had to, get away to win to beat them guys, and he properly gave it a nudge. That's what I'm going for. You can disagree. You can go for someone else.
No, I think that's a good shout, to be honest. And he was on my list, but I was thinking of people that animated the race or made.
Do you know what you say? Yeah, Tim Wellens has been bloody impressive, hasn't he? Just there. He's always there. He's always there.
It's people like that you just expect it from him, though, so you don't actually realise the job that they're doing in a way,
And chapeau to UAE for that national champs jersey.
Yeah, finally. They've been terrible with their national champs jersey in the past.
And have you seen the German one from Wanty, Zimmerman?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, that's how the UAE used to run it.
If you're a national champion, bam!
Yeah, everything.
Wow, mate, I seen that the Wanty one. It's like there's just 3 little stripes in the middle of it.
I know you should be proud of it. Like normally the French one's pretty good. Normally they do it pretty good.
In FDJ, I don't know if it's still the case, but they used to take all the sponsors off.
That is true.
If you
just
look
have
at
the tricolour.
If you look at Buhani or Arnaud Demar, when they were riding for FDJ, there wasn't a sponsor in sight. It was just, there might have been a couple, but it was just the tricolour. Class.
Yeah.
Class. But UAE, for a few years, they did like small little logos, like Navarez when he was champion. I think it was last year. It wasn't great.
I think he still is champion. He's still got it now.
So chapeau UAE. I had a lot of time for that. Right, Swifty. So I was at the Belgian Nationals, and we had 5 riders there, so I was DS in there, and punctured the team card, didn't I? Mate. So we're going through this village, whacking this right-hand corner on cobbles, then just went, poof, like nailed something, like properly nailed it. And I was like, oh no. And then I put my foot to the floor at the corner, and the whole back of the car just went to one side. So I was like, carried on. I was like, right, where's the feed zone? The feed zone in 8K. I was like, well, if they're run flats, I can drive the 8K, get in that car. Okay, there's no radio, but I had a rider's radio.
Yeah.
Just, you're there for wheels, put the cool box in. Anyway, so I tried to drive the 8K, and like, I got about 3K in, and there was just like rubber flying off the wheel. It wasn't a run flat. Mate, I was on the metal. Sparks flying. So pulled it up on the side. Oh, I forgot to say, the first thing I said is, have we got a spare wheel? And the mechanic said, no, we haven't got a spare wheel. So
that's handy.
Anyway, pulled up on the side. What are we going to do now? The race is gone. And I was like, let's just check the back. Check the back, and there was a spare wheel. But it's like It was like a donut, mate. Like this
On
wide.
a disc wheel, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, pop that on. The laps were 16k. So just stopped on the side of the road. And then when the peloton came past, jumped back in. But it was, oh, mate. And then we had cobble sections and everything. I had to go so slow on the cobbles not to like puncture it again.
Shouldn't have admitted that. The council would be after you for damaging the road.
Oh, mate, there was rubber everywhere. And on the side of the wheel, it said maximum 50k an hour. Well, that's impossible, mate. Out the corners, passing groups. Fwah, mate.
Always something with you, isn't there?
Never a dull moment, mate.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Good to see nothing's changed.
All right then, mate. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime.
Good luck with your rehab, mate.
I
feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you, I've got to be honest.
It's all right. Look at that. That's nearly there.
Oh, is that how high you can get it?
Yeah, but my good one's not much better, so.
Are you a righty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, but that's my left.
Yeah, that's right. All right, mate. Well, get well soon. See you on the road. What races do you say you're doing? Or you don't really know?
Normally, see what they say, Wallonie, San Sebastian, Hamburg, Germany, Britain, Canada.
See you in Hamburg, see you in Britain. Big night out at the end of Britain, mate.
There we are.
Full send.
Where is it? What's your mile called? Your Curry Mile, is it?
Curry Mile? No, that's in Manchester, mate. Chippy Alley.
Yeah. Chippy Alley, that's the one.
Chippy Alley. Yeah, get down.
See,
Chippy
I do
Alley.
listen a few times.
You've been there a few times as well.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. We went to remember Connor's Stag. That was a good laugh.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't remember much.
No. All right, mate. Catch you later. Ta-da.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Ta-da.